Next conversation. Street art. Love it or loathe it? How innovative or not a new mural by the artist Banksy is the subject, I have to say, of a bit of debate. It appeared on a building in the Dover area over the weekend. Huge international port, of course, Dover. And the piece shows a workman removing a star from the EU flag. So if you can picture it, blue backdrop, the yellow stars going round in a ring, and then there's this chap up on a ladder and he's chipping away, and some cracks have appeared in the blue background of the EU. Bit of symbolism there, perhaps? Well, this appeared near the A20 in Kent on Sunday morning. The artist, he's a bit of a mystery, not the sort of person you'd invite on this programme to explain his motives. He's known for his political pieces, and if you've seen it, and it's got an awful lot of coverage, it's a very realistic-looking bloke up the ladder, chipping away. Well, this latest comes, of course, as the UK heads towards the June general election and as we prepare to leave the EU. Some are saying it's all a bit obvious, frankly. Others have focused on the subtle cracks which have appeared in the surface, as it were, of the EU, rather than the chiselling. Street art, love it or loathe it? I'd love to hear from you. 0345 303 3333. Let me just share this email before we do anything else. Graffiti as art. It's from Mandy. Good afternoon, Mandy. andrew.edwards@bbc.co.uk. Here in Fuerteventura, Canaries, our capital city, has some wonderful graffiti art. We'll try and share some of this on social media. It's on the side of big buildings that used to look scruffy, and it looks brilliant. They used to get covered in nasty graffiti. Then the local council commissioned young artists to do this wonderful graffiti art. It's a great idea, and it channels young people to do constructive graffiti to make tatty old buildings look great. And the first one, I really thought it was powerful. It's of a fish, it's almost cartoon-like, with great bulging eyes coming along and trying to swallow up the other little fish that are on the side of the wall, and your eyes are just drawn to what looks like a giant aquarium. One of the others I rather liked was of a camel with an underwater scene, could almost be the Acropolis in Athens, and the camel's legs seem to be in the water, and then up above you've got a white backdrop and the bleached blue sky of the Canaries. Very nice. Thank you, Mandy. Lovely to have you listening. andrew.edwards@bbc.co.uk. I don't often like to put our guests on the spot, but we're about to meet Nathan Evans. Let me just introduce him. Hello, Nathan.
Hello there.
How are you? It's lovely to hear you. You have done a lot of street art. I think you're responsible for the mural down the side of Leeds Market, aren't you?
Yeah, I painted the Hello and Welcome to Leeds mural back in January of 2016, last year.
Well, we've been out looking at that, and we've been asking our listeners what they think of it. Are you strong enough to have a listen to what they've got to say? I've not heard this either.
That'd be brilliant to hear, actually. I've not heard for a while.
Well, let's hear what they've got to say, Nathan, then we'll have a chat. So Nathan Evans with you on the big Yorkshire phone-in. So he painted, I think, I really like it, actually, the mural. I'll put my cards on the table. Mural down the side of Leeds Market. And Dara Corcoran has been getting some of your views this lunchtime. Next to that large mural, here's a selection of people who have some reservations.
No, I don't. This is misbehavior. I do believe that. Because it seems to me unclean.
Unclean?
Yeah.
So this was a nice smart wall before?
No, I don't.
Now it's got all these faces on it? You don't like it?
No, I don't like it.
Oh, so you prefer it plain? Plain wall, smart bricks?
Building, normal building.
You're not so keen? That's okay. Just tell us why.
Not interested, really.
Yeah.
No.
You'd sooner have the plain wall, would you? The red brick, yeah.
I'm not keen on that sort of thing there. Hello.
Sprayed on there, hello, yeah.
Right, I'm not keen on that.
Why don't you like that then?
Just a bit, I don't know. Probably the colours. I don't like the blue. If it were like your blue, I might like it.
Yeah, more of a
I think it's the colour that's put me off. Mid-blue.
I see.
Then I like, that looks childish. Nursery. Colours.
Wow. I have to say I was not expecting that, which is why we ask you what you think of things each lunchtime. 0345 303 3333. Street art, love it or loathe it? Dara Corcoran with the questions, you with the answers. Well, Nathan Evans, graffiti stroke street artist, who, amongst other things, painted the mural down the side of Leeds Market. What do you make of the responses, Nathan?
Interesting, to say the least. I think, especially the colour one, I guess colour's always going to be kind of personal opinion, so I can kind of relate to that. But it's strange that those comments kind of contradict what what I was getting when I was there painting the mural.
What were people saying to you then and there then?
It was all positive. There was maybe I had one kind of negative, but it wasn't really backed up with any kind of credible breakdown of why.
It was interesting for me, that lady, it was almost as if you were talking about something in her own kitchen when she was talking about the blue, wasn't it? Very personal.
Yeah. I guess was the presenter wearing the nice blue shirt that she was referencing?
Yes, well, I don't know if you describe it as nice, but he was dressed in blue, yes.
Yeah. So no, it's interesting because there's so much positive conversations during the process of painting the mural. Whether people have maybe just kind of got used to seeing it and it isn't a novelty anymore. Maybe that could be the case.
What do you describe yourself as if somebody asks, Nathan?
So I'm considered as a illustrator and muralist because I do quite a lot of illustration as well as my paintings. I don't quite call myself a street artist, and there's so many reasons for why to label yourself one way and why not.
And why wouldn't you call yourself a street artist?
I don't think it kind of fits in with what I'm trying to achieve in my work as an artist. I'm more interested in being an illustrator and a commercial muralist.
I understand. I mean, I have to say, I personally absolutely love what you've done on that wall there. It's an area of Leeds I've known for, decades. I walk past it virtually every day. For me, it's brightened things up. It's not everybody's cup of tea. I can accept that. It's unclean. Somebody else said, I'm not interested. That's quite a strong response to something which is clearly not graffiti. That wasn't put there accidentally. It wasn't put there in the dark by you thinking, I fancy doing something on this wall to stake my claim on it.
Exactly. I mean, it was commissioned by the council, so we went through the design process and everything was approved. And the case with kind of design and art, it's always subjective. There's always going to be opinions, positive or negative. But it's the case of if you listen to every single opinion, then things can't be done.
Yes, art by committee is probably not a great idea, really. What do you make of Banksy, then? Have you seen this latest EU work, then, where you've got the EU symbol and the chap up his ladder starting to chip away at it?
Yeah, I've seen the piece, and, I mean, it's interesting. I kind of agree with what some of your listeners were saying before about it being quite an obvious kind of solution to the subject. I think a lot of editorial illustrators would have probably kind of sketched up that kind of idea as their first response to this kind of thing. So, I mean, it's interesting, but it isn't that original in my opinion, but that's just my opinion.
And how do you feel about what you've done, say, on the side of Leeds Market, which literally thousands of people see every day?
How do I feel in what sense?
Are you pleased with it? Do you think it's... I mean, describe it for us and then tell us how you feel about it. So for people who've not seen it, what did you do? What did you actually end up doing on that wall there, which was a stretch of dull wall, and opposite, to remind people at the time, there was the building site that has now turned into the Victoria Gate development with John Lewis in it.
Okay. So it was, I agree, a very dull kind of red brick wall that was quite dirty, not necessarily well kept. I kind of applied some quite vibrant background colours with geometric shapes as the kind of base of the wall, and then applied some kind of hand lettering, which read "Hello and Welcome to Leeds," and it spanned about 30 metres across the four walls, and it had some of the characters that kind of frequent the market. Just a kind of colourful thing to kind of brighten up that otherwise quite dull area, in my opinion, again.
And I've heard the argument, stay there, Nathan, that it actually reduces graffiti because people think, some nice art on there. That's actually done something with the wall. What do you think? Street art, love it or loathe it? Your Big Yorkshire phone in. I'm Andrew Edwards, BBC Radio Leeds, 14 minutes to 1, 0345 303 3333. Are you happy to hear a few of our listeners' thoughts on this, Nathan?
I'm more than happy. Yeah, that'd be great.
F says, quality street art should be allowed. I remember the London pavement artists when we lived down there. Might the graffiti artists be given art lessons? How do you feel about graffiti quotes artists? Some people are not sure whether graffiti's art at all. It's a bit of a halfway house often between just putting words on a wall and doing what you do, isn't it?
Yeah, there's so many labels for different art forms that it's usually quite hard because people can kind of slip into the wrong categories. It's quite difficult to define what is an artist and what is a graffiti artist and what is a street artist. It's all just painting to most of the people involved.
Because some people think Banksy is a graffiti artist. It just probably is rather better at his drawing than some people. This is from Mick, who says, hi, Andrew. Street art, hate it. Ruins places of interest. It's all down the banks of the River Danube in Vienna, all over white trucks in Paris. It's awful. You'll end up like the Bronx. I've still not got over the price of the coffee I moaned about, incidentally, 2 years ago to you in Vienna, says Mick. Oh, I remember him whinging about that. Thank you, Mick. Nice to hear you. What about his point then? I mean, trucks in Paris. I took my family there for a couple of nights in September last year. A lot of white vans are covered in graffiti. Trains in New York on the subway before they had the zero tolerance policy were complete graffiti walls, really. What do you make of those comments from Mick?
That's kind of your traditional graffiti. Like the name itself is that kind of subculture that is about that. And I know that Vans is talking about in Paris the very quick paintings, like you say, the cover of Night. That's kind of graffiti by that title. I wouldn't consider that street art. Street art is something more considered that usually takes quite a bit longer, and more and more these days street art is usually commissioned. That's how I'd say it.
Graham in Keithley has emailed me. A group of local kids, he says, under the guidance of a proper street artist, did a mural. How often we call them murals still. Did a mural covering the walls of the Sue Belcher Centre on the Brackenbank estate. Andrew, it looked great, and he sent me a picture of it, which I'll see if we can stick up as well. So often it can be a really powerful force to get kids doing something positive out of their art, can't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just to encourage anyone to pursue something they are interested in and give them the kind of backing to suggest that it's a positive. That's how we should be handling all kind of art forms, in my opinion. We should be encouraging.
Graham also adds, slightly cheekily, andrew.edwards@bbc.co.uk, perhaps inspired by this art, one of the local youths took to his own spray can on the tarmac and waxed lyrical with his poem. It read, Brackenbankers, because this is the Brackenbank estate, Brackenbankers born and bred, strong in arm and good in bed. It made me chuckle, said Graham in Keithley. So there we are. On balance, not everyone loves it, but you still think proper street art is a good thing, Nathan?
I think any form of expression is a good thing as long as it's nurtured and in a positive direction.
Well, it's been very good to speak to you, and you got positive responses. How long did it take you to do the mural along the side of Leeds Market?
It was about 2 solid weeks.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it was a lot of work, and it was a really rainy January when I painted it, so it took a little bit longer than expected, you know.
Yeah, I bet it did. And the mural thing, I think that stemmed from Coronation Street from memory years ago. Did people still call them murals?
Yeah, but I'm not going to hold anyone accountable for what they call things, so that's fine.
Nathan, good to have your company. Thanks very much.
Nice to talk to you, Andrew.
Same here. All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Nathan Effens, street artist who, amongst a great many other things, painted the mural down the side of Leeds Market, which says hello and welcome to Leeds, in some very bright colours, and got pictures of some of the people, the characters associated with the market as well. My question for you, after Banksy turns his attention to Brexit, street art, love it or loathe it? So, Nathan, we've got you back. It turns out there's another side, as with everything, to this story. Are you prepared to hear the people who are a bit more positive this time, Nathan Evans?
Yeah, that sounds a lot better to me.
I thought you might be glad to hear that. Here we go then. Derek Corcoran asking the questions alongside Leeds Market.
I think it's great, yeah. Brightens it up a bit, doesn't it?
Now, is there a dividing line between that and what you might call graffiti?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, of course there is. That's not graffiti, that's talent.
I think it gives it a bit of life, doesn't it?
I love it. I think it's great. I think it livens the place up, brings a bit of colour. I remember there's a mural near the Corn Exchange on the side of a building there. I remember that from when I was a child, and it used to fascinate me what it all meant and what it represented. And I think it's really cool that it brightens the place up.
Oh, it's very nice. Look like very nice.
You're okay with that?
Yeah, beautiful. Everybody come and take pictures.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
You can have a look here, just...
Anything offensive, anything nasty. There's a graffiti all outside the playhouse. Some of it's nice, some of it's nasty. As long as it's not rude, offences, racialist, picking on immigrants or anything, it just has to be nice art. My daughter's got a copy of a Banksy picture in Glasgow that she got in Leeds, and it's a panda with a gun in its hand, I think.
Well, there we are, Nathan. Some people did like it, you see.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. I liked the that's not graffiti, that's talent. I want to speak to that woman a little bit more.
That could be your strapline, couldn't it? You know, Nathan
it,
Evans,
right?
that's not graffiti, that's talent.
Yeah, that could be it. That might be the new one for me.
Excellent, we like that. Well, there we are, two sides to every story. Nathan, really enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks.